Welcome to For the Record. I'm Rex Hoggard, and we're joined by Mark Keene, the CEO of TaylorMade. Now, Mark, I had an opportunity last night before the show started to go to an announcement that you made for Hack Golf.
For the past decade, more than 10 years, our great game has been in a state of decline because our game lacks innovation.
And during that announcement, you actually had a chance to sit down with Ted Bishop, and you were the host, you were the MC. You sat and asked all the questions. So I'm going to flip this. Okay. You're going to host this. You ask me questions.
I get to ask you questions?
Have at it.
So what did you think about last night? What was your gut reaction?
Nobody cares what I think about last night, so we're just going to go back to doing this the right way.
Okay.
I was fascinated by Hack Golf, though. It was a very interesting presentation, a very high-energy presentation. Yeah. Can you give me the basic tenets of what you hope to accomplish?
Yeah, to me, it's if you just want to start with the end, it's all about growing the game of golf. And I know that's all of a sudden kind of like the buzzword around golf now is growing the game of golf. But I think I've been in the industry for 33 years, and the first 23 years of it, the industry was growing and businesses were thriving and golf participation was up, and we were talking about the Tiger effect and all these wonderful things. And the last 10 years, every major macroeconomic indicator is that we're trending down. And we haven't fallen off a cliff, but it's certainly going in the wrong direction. And the reason is that core golfers aren't playing as much golf, and we're getting no new golfers into the game, and we have less kids playing today than ever before. So Hack Golf, and really Hack is, I don't really like the name so much because it's referencing a golfer, which it's not, Rex.
Me, I believe, but go ahead.
But it's this process of hacking something, which is to kind of break it down, analyze where it's gone wrong, and then kind of socialize the issue around what are new creative ideas, not necessarily from industry veterans like myself, but people who have an interest in golf, who maybe play the game, who are on the fringe of the game. What should we be doing differently to change the consumer experience? Because unless we change the experience, we're not going to get new people in. And so we were working with, and you saw him last night, Gary Hamel, brilliant man, about this open source innovation. So it starts with many ideas. You narrow them down, you choose a few, and then you fund the experimentation of these different ideas. And hopefully through that process, you find a couple things that really change the dynamics.
I believe it was Nietzsche, and I don't know how I know this, but he said the only way to have a good idea is to have a bunch of ideas. Is that the basic concept?
That's the basic concept. And Gary Hamel has brought that thinking in to our company, and now we're trying to do it in golf, which is he suggests that ideas come from to find one, you probably have to start with 1,000, and then you might, of those thousands, there might be 100 to consider, 10 that you might experiment with, really only to find one that really makes a difference. And so it's a numbers game, and you're not going to get this myriad of ideas from a few people. So we're going to engage the entire golf population.
Mark, you have been around the golf industry for 30 years, I believe you said last night. You have seen all of the initiatives, Golf 2020, Golf 2.0, Get Golf Ready.
Yeah.
How is this going to be different than those?
Well, and honestly, the answer is really simple. Because I think the game of golf is constructed around the core golfer who has a passion for competition and the challenge of golf. And everything that we've done, every one that you mentioned, Play It Forward, Get Golf Ready, it's promoting and celebrating the same core principles. I think this isn't about the core of what makes golf great. This is about what we could use from here and change so that we could bring new people in. It's what snowboarding did for skiing. And I mean, that's the best analogy.
I know this was kind of born from, TaylorMade is known for innovation, and that's why you brought Gary in. And that was going to be one of my questions, that according to a lot of experts, we have reached the plateau of distance gains, and yet TaylorMade continues to come out with new golf balls,
Yep.
new drivers. If I opened up my bag 10 years from now, what am I going to see in that bag?
Well, I think you're going to see some things completely different, because I believe somewhere along the line, and I'm not saying, and it's certainly not in the next year or 24 months, but somewhere in the next 10 years, I believe that the rules will bifurcate. And I believe, and even if they don't bifurcate, I believe companies like ours will bring out technologies that allow the ball to go further, and probably focusing on slower swing speeds. And I think we're onto a few technologies right now that in the past, and really up to right now, distance is all about speed, the swing speed, the generation of speed off the club face, the speed of the ball. What we're finding, and we have a new driver out right now, that instead of having the center of gravity be down and back, it's down and forward. Adding more loft, it takes off all kinds of spin, and the less spin you have down to 1,700 RPMs, the further the ball goes. So honestly, I think there's all kinds of room for new technologies to find distance.
You mentioned the buzzword from 2013, bifurcation, and that all came from the anchored ban.
Yeah.
You were one of the few manufacturers who were outspoken
Yeah.
against the ban
Yeah.
on anchoring when it comes to putters. What did you take away from last year's exchange between the USGA, the R&A, and the rest of golf?
Well, I think to me, it's one of the real challenges is the United States Golf Association and the R&A are so powerful, and they don't try to be powerful. Their actions are so powerful that everybody lines up behind them. Because I couldn't find 5 people that were for the ban on anchoring anywhere. And yet we ban anchoring and everybody lines up behind it, which I don't get that. So, and I understand, I'm not even against the USGA and what they want to do, but I don't know why we have to line up behind that. And if they want to do that, I think we should line up behind something else.
This touches on what you just mentioned about introducing drivers, and production cycles for equipment manufacturers have become so condensed now. Do you see that as a problem? And if so, how do you fix that?
Yeah, it's a problem, and it's a problem on a couple of fronts. One, it's very expensive to do it. Mm-hmm. Secondly, you frustrate 90% of the industry. Unfortunately, maybe let's say 80%. Unfortunately, it's the 20% of consumers that buy all of our products, and they want products as often as we can bring them out. The rest of the 80% don't, but they only buy a club once every 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but it's this 20% of the golfer base, they buy a product every 2 or 3 months. And we have to run our business around frequent purchases.
Sure.
So we are trying to find a balance. And I don't think we've done a very good job of it the last couple of years, but that is the major challenge for us.
When I cover the PGA Tour, and every week, week in and week out on the PGA Tour, players are playing your clubs, other golf balls, your golf balls. How important of it is it to you over the years has player validation become from the PGA Tour down?
Yeah, we really believe, from Gary Adams, the founder of the company, that if the passionate golfer is going to buy a piece of equipment, he's going to do it. One of the criteria are the PGA Tour professionals using that product. And I don't think it's as important who the person is, it's how many of them. And so Titleist, who has been the most successful company for 30 years, they have more golfers using their ball than anyone else. Every single thing that's number one on the PGA Tour is the number one thing selling in the marketplace. Drivers, fairway woods, gloves, shoes, balls.
You can quantify
You can quantify it. So I think it's the most important thing.
All right. Last question. Last night you talked about having fun in golf.
Yep.
You made this fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mark,
All right,
appreciate
Rex.
it.
Thanks.
That'll do it for this edition of For the Record. We'll see you next time.